Here we are in the three-toed box turtle pen. Well, actually, it used to be the three-toed box turtle pen. It's not anymore. We got no turtles in here. We got no turtles in this pen either. It's because we've had a problem. So I had to move the turtles 2 pens over that way. Luckily, I had an empty pen. I'm always moving turtles around, and that's a problem. We don't want to do that too much because we want them to get comfortable in their enclosure. And every time you move turtles from one enclosure or pond to the other, they need like another year and a half to get settled and comfortable before they really start producing a lot of eggs. So if you have a turtle or colony in a pond, and let's say you got 50 eggs from that colony, the next year, if you move them to another pond, you might only get 20. And it might be the following year you get 30, and then the following year back to 50 or 60. So you want to make sure that these animals are as comfortable as possible. So next year we might not have a big production on the three-toed box turtle eggs, but hey, I moved them over there at least for now until I can figure out how to keep the problem down here at Reptastic. We have skunks that are just causing all kinds of problems here. We've had it in the past, in the fall, where they dig underneath the privacy fence behind me, and then they dig underneath the pen here. As you can see, this is a pretty high wall. I got an electric fence on the top. They don't climb over because they're gonna get zapped. So what they decided to do is dig. Now, it dug over in this corner, and that's why I have these rocks here, trying to keep the soil and stuff intact and from being easily dug out. But this is like a 10-pound rock, okay? And this skunk had to have moved this rock because it was right there, and I just moved it so I could put the trap down. So it probably spent an hour or two trying to move this rock in order to get underneath and into this pen. So I came out here, as I do morning walks around the property, to check and look at everything, see if there's anything that shouldn't be happening. And I noticed there was a three-toed box turtle sitting right there, and I'm like, what the heck? And then I came over here and saw the hole. Now, they couldn't get out of this area because I have some walls, like some 2x6s, 2x10s that are set up just to, in case this happened, because it did happen before. And we want to make sure that obviously skunks aren't getting in and digging up the turtle eggs, because that is what they want. That's what they're seeking. But I also had this one dig up a yellow jacket nest. Thankfully, I was gonna kill it anyway and spray it anyway, and went in there and ate the brood, which is the nest and all the babies. But yeah, so it did me a favor. That's it. Didn't dig up any nests. I didn't find any eggshells. So I think it was in and out. It went straight for the bees nest, and luckily nothing. But if it ventured around for a while, it would find the eggs. Last year I had a big problem. I lost a lot of eggs. I found eggshells and holes everywhere. So thankfully, I jumped on this, got these traps set up. I ordered more of these metal barb. It's called like Predator Defense or something like that. And it goes down into the ground like 12 inches or so, and it's gonna keep them from digging. They usually won't go down and dig farther than 12 inches. So, but let me show you. I moved them over here. For those of you that know three-toed box turtles, they're known as Terrapene Carolina Triungus, and they are found as east into Mississippi, west to Texas, and I think north up to Illinois. But I moved them over here. We just walked through the Florida box turtle pen, and I moved them over here. The box turtles here, okay, have a lot of plants and vegetation. Well, it's more weeds. There's a few little logs and stuff and debris and leaves all over the place for them to burrow and kind of obstruct line of sight. The less these animals see each other, the happier they are, especially male to male. We don't want the males to see each other that much. If we can avoid it, it just reduces the stress, because when you have stressed animals, stressed turtles, you have a weaker immune system, and that's when they get sick. So when we talk about preventing sickness, we're also talking about clean water. Right here, I have a pool. I got a hose that's coming out and moving water. As you can see right here, okay, that hose has got a valve, and I let it run every single day and just flood this out. And you can see there's a turtle over there. It's probably, I'll go point it out over here. It's probably drinking. This is a male. You can see the male's got a little bit of color. You can see the red on its eyes, a little orange on the nose there, the beak. Females are kind of a little bit more bland and ugly, but they have an olive brown shell mostly. I have seen some various patterns that sometimes we would call them as hybrids. They sometimes overlap each other in the wild in certain areas like three-toads and easterns. So if they breed with each other, you end up having a hybrid animal. But they're brown, olive shelled, and the shells are made up of keratin, which is the same thing that's in your fingernails. So if you touch a turtle like this, it feels, most people don't think, they think the turtles live in the shell, but the shell is the turtle. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're always handling these turtles with care, and trying to prevent it from being uncomfortable and stressed. So back to this water source. It runs for an hour or two every single day. And obviously not in the wintertime because they're not as active, but it does that because we want to make sure that it puddles and then it drains out, because we don't want anything getting in there and causing any kind of disease. We want to have clean water all the time. And in the wild, these turtles a lot of the times drink out of puddles and slow moving streams where they have fresh clean water. So clean water is key. The right diet, sunlight, and protection from predators, huge things in having a colony of box turtles in your yard, or all turtles and tortoises really. You want to make sure that these turtles are comfortable. So logs, I have a greenhouse there which they can get in and avoid basically really bad weather. We have thunderstorms sometimes, which box turtles typically like. But when it rains for several days on end, sometimes you have 3-4 days of rain, and they're like, man, they want to escape it, so they look for a log to hide under or something like that. So that greenhouse is more beneficial for tortoises in that way, but they also have that option here in the three-toed box turtle pen. And then we have these plates right here, guys. So these plates, it's upside down somehow, and holy crap, look at this, whoa. Believe it or not, this isn't even a three-toed box turtle. I just got hit in the back with an acorn, Jesus. So this is the eastern box turtle. This one looked like it was born in the spring or maybe even last fall. It's got some growth to it. Wow. See, there was nothing in this pen, but the eastern box turtle pen's over there. So now I'm wondering, could this turtle have dug underneath that wall and got in here? It's possible. But that's awesome. A well head started kind of eastern box turtle. It's like almost 2 inches now. And this, it's dirty, but this is a lid to a container, a food container that I got, and I use it, flip it upside down and feed it because it's really shallow. I feed these turtles in these pans because it's really shallow and they can just walk in and out of the pan. When we have rain, we put like Missouri and stuff like that, and sometimes, like we've had just recently, this is kind of spoiled food, but you do Missouri, you do like the crock chow, the smaller pellet diet, Missouri aquatic turtle pellets. We do strawberries, cut up night crawlers, even do some corn on the cob. Look, here's one right here, but looks like they got to it, as well as the yellow jackets right underneath me. Try not to get stung here. So it's always important that when you feed your animals and you provide water, that they have dishes they can get in and out of very quickly, and easily, so they can get to their food when they need it. There's a lot of people that have bowls that stick 2-3 inches up, and they got to climb up and get into it to really get to the food. And some of the smaller ones have problems doing that. So you want to burrow it. If you have a bowl that's this high, burrow it in the ground so it's ground level and they can come right into the bowl. And that's what we do. Sometimes we run sprinklers. We got a sprinkler on in the back over by the tortoises, just to wake them up and also water the plants. Got to keep these plants thriving, because that is one of their one of the things that really help them feel stress-free and I guess I'm saying that these animals are more comfortable when they feel like they're in nature. So you want to provide as much of that as possible, as much of the natural environment. If you can kind of duplicate their habitat, then obviously you have a happy turtle. So yeah, three-toed box turtles, guys. Hopefully we can get to this skunk problem, because I am just tired of going through this every fall and losing eggs that were laid in the ground and ground hatched, which obviously here is proof of a ground hatched baby. As you've seen other videos and stuff that I've done with other ground hatched babies. I just did one on the North American wood turtles. And you know, we just want to keep the skunks out. We haven't had any issues really with the shells and the nest dug out. I haven't seen any shells this year so far. But last year we had a problem. We lost a lot of box turtles, Florida box turtle eggs, wood turtle eggs. It was awful. So hopefully that's the end of this, and that skunk doesn't come back into the backyard. If there is any more content that you guys want to see for any of the other animals that are here on the property, I have various species of turtles, tortoises, different enclosures. If there's any enclosure you want me to show you, feel free to let me know in the comments. I just, want to make sure I touch on everything I possibly can for anybody that just needs to know and wants to know more on each species and how to care for them, like the three-toed box turtles and the eastern box turtle here, which is a perfect little turtle, very colorful, and an unbelievable find. It was underneath this. I bet she was eating some of this. It was upside down, which probably a three-toed box turtle flipped it or something, and it was probably under there eating. I couldn't believe it. It took me by surprise, but that happens. But again, this is my passion. I know a lot of you have the same passion as I do, and that's just awesome. I can't stress enough, captive breeding is so important. Having reassurance colonies in case anything happens to any of the population in the wild, which so far, a majority of the species we have now in the United States and across the world are turning around. We have different agencies and companies that are doing what they can to mass produce them, and some of them even be head started and let go into the wild. You see that with sea turtles in various countries. You see that with, I'll give you another example. Moramis anamensis, the Vietnamese pond turtle, which was considered extinct in the wild in Vietnam, but because of captive breeding, they've been letting them go, and so that population is turning around. And also, the more that are produced in captivity, guys, I know some of you are, not happy if they're relying on an income on selling wildlife, but I'm not a big fan of, pushing that. It's not about the money, guys. It's about the animals. It's about keeping them happy. I know everything costs money, all the enclosures, the electric bills, and I get it. And that's why we sell the babies. That's why we sell the babies that we hatch, to help chip away and pay for that. Because the food's expensive, the electricity, it's like thousands of dollars. But if a lot of them are produced in captivity, the price will come down. There'll be an abundance. It's all supply and demand. And then if the price is down, you have less likely of people trying to go into the wild and collect them. So the eastern box turtle, I like to think, because I'm in New Jersey, so I like to think that in New Jersey, this species has been probably turning around and going the other direction with numbers in terms of population. If you were to sit there and analyze, I would bet everything I own that there are more box turtles in New Jersey than deer, clearly, without a doubt. There are several for every acre of land, as long as you're in the right habitat. You walk right past them, you don't even see them. But there's been plenty of surveys done where people have walked the property of 2-3 acres, count endless turtles, 20-30 turtles, and then come back the next time, maybe a week later, and see another 20 turtles they didn't see the first time. And it's amazing how people just walk right past it. But they have like a roaming radius, and they just bounce back and forth. But you walk right past them, they burrowed in the leaves. They'll be under a log. They'll be at the base of a plant. So I would like to think that, yes, there's a lot because you're not seeing as much development now as you did back in the 80s, 90s, even 15 years ago. The development's pretty much like new construction has kind of calmed down a lot, and a lot of it's just being renovations or knockdowns and rebuilds. But you're not seeing as many new developments going up and as much woods being cleared. So you have a lot of habitat being protected. Some of them have you'll have acreage of land with an endangered species on it. And not only does the protection of that land now protect that species, but all the other species that live on it as well. So in certain areas, guys, I've seen these numbers absolutely up substantial, and I hope that, people are just paying attention on the roads. If we can cut down the turtles from getting run over by cars, we're gonna be in pretty good shape. There's a lot of people that are just not paying attention. They're on their phone and they are running over turtles with the phone too close to another car, and the first car will see it, and then the second car you're driving, you don't see it, and it's, oh crap, there it is, and then it's too late. Okay, and we want to avoid these turtles from being run over by cars as much as possible. They're such an amazing little species. I think this is a male. It's already getting like a lot of orange on its face, which is pretty cool. Usually babies aren't quite as colorful, but they develop it as they grow. Anyway, eastern box turtle, guys. How adorable is this little baby? We got plenty of them that are hatching, ground hatching even still, so we still have more to probably find in the pens. And that's pretty much it for today at Reptastic Adventures. Again, if there's anything else that you guys want me to touch on, feel free to let me know in the comments. And I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, liked and subscribed, that'd be fantastic. I appreciate that, and we will catch you next time.